If you're new to Islam in the UK, you've probably noticed that there is a hierarchy among converts to Islam. You've probably noticed that how on social media, you've got some converts, when they release their Shahada video, which gets hundreds of thousands of views, and 1 week after, they get all of a sudden sponsored trips to Turkey, to Egypt, to Saudi, to Pakistan. They get all expense paid Umrah. They get featured on every single Muslimic YouTube channel and podcast. And you have some other converts who just spend their whole Ramadan alone. They go to the mosque for iftar and they're just left alone in the corner. No one wants to speak to them. Some of them get abused by other Muslims at the mosque, and some others even get kicked out of the mosque just because they're not the right type of convert. Hello and welcome. I'm William. I am a sociologist at the University of Warwick in the UK. It's been now 15 years that I've been working on Muslim issues in Europe and North America. It's also been 15 years that I'm a Muslim myself. So I talk from a place of love and care for the community. And I will also argue that we've seen a video where I talk about how the British Muslim society is divided into castes. So now I want to go further and explore the stratification of society when it comes to converts to Islam. And again, I want to argue, this is my theory, that it is not a Muslim or Islamic problem itself. Definitely not Islamic, but it is more of a British problem, how the British society itself is stratified according to socio-economic and ethnic lines. Sadly, because people don't have access to education that much, all of this stratification has transpired into Muslim communities and other minorities as well. I'm from France and I've never been accepted in the British Ummah. That's why, I don't work with British Muslims anymore. As I mentioned in many previous videos, because people don't even believe I'm Muslim because my parents are Polish. None in France. France was really, really good. But here in the UK, I've been rejected many times from jobs at Muslim charities, for marriage, because despite me having a PhD, people said things along the line that, you're one of these dirty immigrants who build a dodgy driveway and run away with the money. So yeah, I learned the hard way that British Muslims are a very stratified society. But you think I got it really bad, but some people I've met got it really, really worse. Go and talk, for example, with black reverts to Islam in the UK, especially black women, some of the most talented artists and community organizers. They may have thousands and thousands of followers on social media, and they might be extremely talented at what they're doing, but yet you barely see them on any Muslimic YouTube channel or podcast. Then you've got South Asian converts to Islam. So people who grew up in a Hindu or Sikh family and decide to embrace Islam. So contrary to black Muslim reverts to Islam, they don't get hate from other Muslims that much, but they get completely ignored because people assume they're South Asian, they already have a very huge support network. But that's completely wrong. And you probably know the dynamics in South Asian families. If you are in a Sikh family or if you're a Hindu family and one of the kids embrace Islam, how are they going to be treated by the family? And these reverts probably have had the worst experience ever with their families. I've met some previously Hindu and Sikh reverts to Islam who got disowned by the families, ignored by the families, who got physically abused, who got prohibited from attending their own parents' funerals. I've met people who have murder attempts on them because they embraced Islam. Then you have the white British working class converts. So people who are born in Britain from English, Welsh, Scottish families who know roughly how to navigate the British society. Born Muslims would open a few doors for them because they know how to navigate the society. And they actually get involved in many aspects of their local communities, but still they will be kept in the background. They will still encounter problems finding jobs among the Muslim charity sector or else, and they will get trouble getting married because, well, they're not South Asian. They just don't have properties, they don't have networks, they don't have wealth. Some people would accuse these white reverts for working for the police or the intelligence services. They're just not the right kind of British converts. At the same level, I would say they are now the European converts to Islam who embraced Islam and moved to Britain, or moved to Britain and embraced Islam. They may encounter similar experiences, but they may have a little bit more challenges because, not being a native English speaker and not being born in this country, they may not share the same cultural references, social clues, and they may have a harder time navigating the British system overall. And if, like me, you come from the continent, many people will find you rude because they think you're too direct. Well, we Europeans, we just, usually just say what we think. We don't beat around the bush like the British. And then there are the elite converts who can boast a certain level of wealth, who own properties, who have huge networks, connections in politics, in the media, or converts who went to private school, to Oxford, to Cambridge, or Insta converts who became famous only thanks to social media. So you will see these people featured on so many Muslimic YouTube channels and podcasts because either, in one case, born Muslims would see them as a symbol, like a providential saviors, a symbol of a bridge between, let's say, Muslims and Britain, Muslims and the far right, and so on and so on. They will see them very pragmatically from a utilitarian perspective because they may have connections in politics, they may have connections in the media, they may have access to huge amounts of wealth, and wealth means maybe funding for your mosque or your charity. And then the second category is what I call the professional converts, people who literally make a career, make money out of their shahada. So many of them are models, they're actors, influencers working with marketing agencies. So their accounts on social media, you will see them traveling all across the world in Islamic countries, all expenses paid. And you will see, if you go on the About section on YouTube or whatever, their email address is often the one of a talent management agency. And they are very easy to spot because often on their social media, they will put links to selling their merchandise, sweaters, or, they would charge their one-to-one session, £250 an hour, or they would advertise their online course, 1 week after their Shahada, they would put up an online course, how to be the perfect revert Muslim, and £900. It's very hard to mistake because you will see that they will commodify as much as they can their position, their identity of being new to Islam and to make money or to gather followers. So you will see them traveling across the world, but paradoxically, you will very rarely see them interact with their local mosque, their local Muslim community, or Muslims who are just not rich, powerful or famous. So this is a very self-interested venture. And again, I'm not excusing them, but we need to understand that from the moment when your social media presence is a marketing or business endeavor, you have to be self-centered. Of course, there is always exceptions, but they're very, very rare. And you may also, non-judgmental places in the UK are very rare. I think after 10 years of presence here and studying up and down the country, I've only listed, Rumi's Cave in London and Cambridge in general. It's really unfair, but humans are humans at the end of the day. People prefer running after fame, money, and power rather than uniting around meaningful causes, supporting each other. But in the age of social media, doing good is boring. So if you're new to Islam, be very careful and be aware of the way you will be received by the wider community, the challenges you may experience. I talk about this in many of my videos, but do not expect to find a community. You have, sadly, to build your own, except if you are very lucky enough to be in a pocket where you have very nice and supportive people around you. But otherwise, it is a very lonely and difficult experience. If you want to contact me for support, feel free to do so. I do not charge for my advice and support. I charge companies because this is my job, but no, not individuals who are struggling. I don't think it's very ethical. But again, my interpretation of Islam might be a minority. But anyways, thank you very much for your attention. I hope it was helpful. And again, take care of yourselves.